Hey everybody, and welcome to my latest video review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm Jessica Dwyer with Fangirl Magazine and Fangirl Magazine on YouTube, which is where you're at, and you probably already knew that. So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, everybody's already been talking about it. I'm late to the game on this one. It took me a while to get to the theater for it. But, oh my god, is it possibly my favorite Marvel movie? Very likely. It's really up there. Definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. Sorry, Sam Raimi and gang, but oh my god, this movie was just beautiful. There were so many things just perfect about it, and I'll go over them now, or at least a condensed version. So, in this film, focuses on Miles Morales, who is just a great character, very relatable character, just a normal kid, and there's God, it's just so good. But Miles is going through life and kind of finding his way. His dad's a cop, his mother's a nurse in this, and he's trying to find his way, trying to find who he is inside, and finds himself in a predicament. I'm trying not to spoiler this, but it's going to be really hard. But what happens is, of course, he gets bitten by a radioactive spider, and not the same way as Peter Parker, because this film covers the Spider Verse, because we've already established there's multiverses, and not only Marvel but in DC. But this focuses on not only the Spider Verse itself, but it focuses on what it is to be Spider Man and the hard life that can be, and what is the core of that, and that is loss, and growing and becoming who you are and who you're meant to be. And there's a lot of things going on in this movie. Not only that, but um, what I loved about this film, besides just how beautiful it was, how perfect the music was, how perfect the casting is, how imperfect the characters were. It took a while for Miles to figure it out. He wasn't super Spider-Man from the get-go. That's his journey, is this whole movie. That we had a Peter Parker that was the dumpy Peter Parker. He was the B grade Peter Parker, who wasn't perfect in the least, was admittedly not perfect, and learned to be who he was. You had Spider Ham. Spider Ham was in this. The thing that I really, really loved too, and was so happy about, was Spider-Man Noir, who was Nicolas Cage, who just made this movie for me even more so, because he was just so perfect, and you could tell he was just having fun just doing this, because he's such a geek just like the rest of us. um, the artwork there, I'm jumping all around like a lunatic, but the artwork was just absolutely gorgeous. The whole film, I was trying to figure out if I was needing 3D glasses. I kept glancing around to see if I needed 3D glasses, if I'd forgotten them, but no, it's just the depth and the artwork in this movie just is so good and beautiful that you think it just is perfect. Gwen Stacy was fantastic. But going back to the growth of the characters, this movie really shows, like, every one of these Spider-Man and women, with Gwen Stacy there, had a loss, a major loss, that helped kick them into gear. With Peter Parker, and it was Uncle Ben. With Spider-Man Noir, it was Uncle Benjamin. It with Gwen Stacy, she lost her friend Peter Parker. It was just a really beautiful scene, seeing that. I loved how it also played on the whole origin story. Like, we already know this is an origin story, and they count how many there are, and okay, we're going to do this one more time. Oh, we're going to do this one more time. I loved Lily Tomlin being Aunt May. I thought that was just amazing. um, I really just loved everything about this. It was such a beautifully done story. Yes, it was an origin story, but it knew it was an origin story. Penny Parker also was just fantastic. Kimiko Glenn plays her. I just love that they made her very anime, and it worked within this world. All these different styles came across beautifully how they did it. Um, I was surprised at some of the voices that showed up, and I kept thinking, who is this? I know that voice. I know that voice. Um, and within this movie, you've got Liev Schreiber returning to the Marvelverse as another villain instead of being Sabretooth. He's Pinhead, Kingpin. Totally different genre. I just went into there. That would be interesting though. But yeah, so just Chris Pine as the original Peter Parker shows up at the beginning, and kind of I was like, that's Chris Pine. I grabbed Rachel, Fangirl Rachel went with me to this, and I just grabbed her. I'm like, that's Chris Pine. But there are so many. I mean, Mahershala Ali is in this as Uncle Aaron. Just so many good actors, and then so many surprise ones show up. And then there is, of course, Stan Lee has his cameo in this, one of the last ones that he did. Although I've heard there's like a stockpile of them somewhere. But just beautifully done. Choked me up a little bit when I saw it, and then there was a lovely bit at the end that was just a beautiful homage to him. Nice little placard that came up. But the thing about this movie that I really really liked was the message to it, and that was anybody can wear the mask. It wasn't beaten over your head that this was so inclusive, because that shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't matter, in terms of it just is. That's the thing, is there's so many different ethnicities in this, and it's beautiful and it's perfect, and it's not beaten over your head, because it shouldn't have to be. It just is the world. That's how we are. And I loved that was part of the thing with this, was the message. And it even leaves on this part is anybody can wear the mask. And it represents that message so perfectly with just the diversity in the cast and diversity in the movie, and showing the multiple verses of it. So it was really beautiful in that way, not only just in visual, but in the story. I absolutely love this movie. I can't say enough about it. The soundtrack is amazing. The acting is amazing within it. Just perfect movie. It's one of the best movies I have seen in a while. I'm going to be really hard pressed to, even with the second part of Infinity War coming, this was just perfect. Does it make me wish all Marvel movies were animated? No. I like my live action Marvel movies. I think they're cool. But definitely is a massive step up from all of us that have seen Marvel animated films, those direct to DVD things that they've come out with. Marvel always had the bad movies when it came to the animated ones, to me at least, and DC was always doing right by that and doing right by the animated films. DC still is doing an amazing job with their animated movies, but this movie is possibly just so many good things. Probably the best animated feature film I've ever seen. Deserved that win at the Golden Globes. I hope it gets an Oscar nomination and wins. It deserves it. It deserves it. It cements it. If Marvel can keep this up with their animated films, they win animated films. So perfect perfect movie, nearly perfect movie. Um, I would say it is perfect, but I think my only gripe in that regard is uh, it. I wanted it longer, even though it was over 2.5 hours long. Maybe I'm nitpicking, trying to find something wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with this movie. It's perfect. I give in. I give in to that. Um, so yeah, this is a fantastic film. You need to go see it, and go see it a couple of times, because there are so many things within it that you're going to miss in terms of just background things, little like nods to things, like M. Bendis was on Miles's cell phone. I saw a Shaun of the Dead movie poster for From Dusk Till Dawn in the background at one point in Times Square. There's all kinds of things I know I missed, and I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it like 4 times to see maybe half of them. I don't know if I'm going to find everything, because this is one of those movies that you can tell geeks made it, that snuck in everything they could into the movie. So, yes, go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Run, don't walk. If you have the ability to see it in an IMAX theater in 3D, do it. I didn't see it that way. I want to see it that way. I think Aquaman's still in IMAX right now. I don't know if Glass is going into IMAX, but sadly I didn't go when this was, because I think it was. And I want to go beat my head into a brick right now, because I missed it there. So go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's beautiful. Listen out for the people within it. Oscar Isaac's in there. Um, you'll see what I mean. Stay till the end. I didn't stay through the entire end, and I found out later what I missed, and I was very sad. So don't be stupid like me and assume, oh, it's over. It's a Marvel movie. I should have known better. I'm bad. Bad Marvel fangirl. So go see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Do it now. It's beautiful. You'll thank yourself and want to go see it again and again. And yay, Spider-Man.